I am happy to be here. I live in New York City. It's nice. I just moved recently. I just moved within the city. I had to rent a U-Haul to move because everybody's ever rent a U-Haul? No, not a single person in here has rented a U-Haul. That feels statistically impossible, right? I rented a U-Haul, it was the worst. I set a reservation online for a pickup truck. Just a normal, standard pickup truck. And then I arrived at U-Haul and they said, we do not have a pickup truck. What we do have is a 15-foot box truck. I don't know if you guys are aware of the size of a 15-foot box truck. We could all fit inside of that truck, no problem. I'm 23 years old. I cannot rent a Prius from Enterprise. But for $19 an hour, I can drive through the tight streets of Manhattan in a studio apartment on wheels. Not to mention if you get the $20 insurance. If you get the $20 insurance, they're like, that's your truck now. Do whatever the fuck you want with that truck. I looked it up. The $20 insurance covers $120 million in damages. I don't even know how I could cause that much damage. That's a crazy amount of damage. If I took the 15-foot truck and I drove it as fast as I could off the side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it landed on top of a ferry boat, and they both exploded into flames, and there was fireballs shooting into Manhattan and Brooklyn, the whole city's on fire. All that would happen is some dude at the U-Haul office would be like, holy shit. You still got $80 million in damages to go. Worst case scenario is another dude would show up at the U-Haul office an hour later and be like, hey, I'm here for the 15-foot truck. And they'd be like, we do not have the 15-foot truck. What we do have is the pickup truck. I just got back 30 minutes ago. It should be good to go. I like living in the city. It's nice. I grew up in the suburbs originally. The suburbs I'm not a huge fan of. The suburbs, they freak me out. I have a big fear of home invasions. Which I'm pretty scared of. You guys don't seem to be scared of that at all in any way whatsoever. The dead silence is making me feel like quite the pussy right now. And I feel like I'm being pretty vulnerable with you guys about my deepest and darkest fears. I'm afraid of home invasions, and I think in the moment most people are. And I was thinking about that fear of mine. I think it's a lot worse in the suburbs than it is in the city. Because in the city there's so much noise, so much chaos. I don't even pay attention to that kind of thing. And then in the suburbs it's every little noise I hear in the middle of the night, I just freeze in my bed. And I'm I guess I'm going to die right now, right? That's my initial thought every single time. When I was 10 years old, I used to wake my parents up every night at 3 in the morning. And be like, someone's downstairs right now. Every single night at 3 in the morning, I would go into my parents' room and I would say, somebody is downstairs. And it didn't occur to me until recently when I went home that home invasions, that's a pretty common fear to have. I think a lot of people are afraid of home invasions. And then I was thinking about that and I was like, there's a pretty good chance that my parents are afraid of home invasions. And then I was thinking about that, and I was like, that had to have been the most horrifying way to wake up every night at 3 in the morning for my parents. For my dad to just be sound asleep, he just feels a tiny hand rustling his chest. And then he opens his eyes and my face is 1 inch away from his. And just someone's downstairs right now. Imagine starting your day like that every single day. That's just the first thing you see when you open your eyes in the morning. Someone's downstairs just stealing all of our stuff. They're probably gonna kill you guys. I'm young enough. They'll let me live. Sometimes my dad would go away. He'd go on a business trip or something. I'd have to wake up my mom instead. Which, no offense to my mom, but that was just completely fucking useless. No point in doing that at all. My mom was more scared than I was 99% of the time. I remember I would go into my parents' room when my dad was home, and I'd be like, Dad, I think I heard someone downstairs. And he'd be like, there's no one downstairs. Go back to bed. And then I'd go to my parents' room when it was just my mom, and I'd be like, Mom, I think I heard someone downstairs. And she'd be like, you heard that shit too? Someone is down there right now. Someone is down there, and they are coming for us as we speak. And then she would have this whole master plan where I would stand at the top of the staircase holding a baseball bat at 10 years old. Which I don't know if you guys know the strength of a 10-year-old boy. Full swing with that baseball bat. You could just grab that and be like, no, not happening. Not a chance. So I would stand holding the baseball bat. My mom would go 2 steps below me, and she would look down the stairs and go, hello? For 45 minutes to an hour. Just hello? And then she'd be like, all right, there's no one downstairs. Back it up. We're going back to bed. And there never was anyone downstairs, right? There never was actually anyone down there. But in this hypothetical where there is somebody downstairs, what fucking fantasy land does my mom live in where like hello is gonna be the thing that scares off the home invaders. Isn't their number one goal to not get caught? And they're gonna hear hello coming from upstairs, and they're gonna be like, well, we can't just not reply. We gotta say something, right? Hey, down here. Just wrapping up. We'll be out of your hair in no time. Don't worry about us. I was home recently. My family, they're moving right now. And when I was home, my mom, she's really on my ass. She was like, hey, we're moving. You gotta box up all your shit. And I was like, right, I'll do it. And then I didn't do it. And then another day went by, and she was like, hey, we're moving. You gotta box up all your shit. And I was like, right, I'll do it. And then I didn't do it again. And then on the third day, I remember I woke up, and I remember I was looking everywhere for my Zoloft medication, my antidepressants. Couldn't find them anywhere. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I swear I put these right on my nightstand. They're nowhere to be found. So I go downstairs, I find my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, have you seen my Zoloft anywhere? And she was like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, are you sure? Because it was right on my nightstand, and it's not there anymore. And then she pulls out a pill bottle from her back pocket, and she rattles it around. And she goes, hey, is this your Zoloft? I was like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And then she goes, look, happiness is for good boys. Happiness is for good boys who box up their things when I tell them to. And then I went and I boxed up my thing. It's like, mommy's good boy that I am. Despite some of the nasty faces I'm seeing right now, that's a fucking genius idea. That's a great parenting tactic. This is a pretty young crowd. 20 years from now, we're all gonna be doing that. Serotonin restriction. You wanna be happy? Do your homework on time. Get a little Zoloft as a sweet treat after dinner. Here's something, I'm not drinking right now. I stopped drinking like 6 months ago, which has been fine. It's been, no, that's pretty much that got exactly what it deserved. It's not, it sucks, it's terrible. I stopped drinking, and, you know, I definitely thought it was gonna be a lot better, that's for sure. And I thought it was gonna like change my life in a lot of really positive ways. It's probably made my life worse in way more ways than it's made it better. I don't do anything anymore. I didn't realize my only hobby was drinking. That was all I did. So now I just lay down all day, every day. That's all I do, is just lay down. 2 nights ago, I played video games for 7 hours straight. 7 hours just locked in. And then I got in bed and I watched YouTube videos of someone else playing the game I just played. And I was like, that was a pretty productive day. I got a lot done today. That was solid. One thing that I've noticed since I've stopped drinking is everyone I know that doesn't drink, they just get really into weed. That seems to be like a big trend. Quit drinking, you just start smoking weed all the time. I never did that because I never liked weed. I wanted to. I tried to like convince myself that I liked weed. When I was like 13 years old, I used to smoke just like a full joint to myself, get insanely high, and then just have the most intense panic attack you could possibly imagine. And I'd be like, man, weed is fucking awesome. I'm having a blast right now. So I didn't know anything about weed. I thought that's what it was like. I was like, I love a drug that makes it so I can't take a deep breath. That's my style. Let me hit that shit one more time. Starting to get those sharp chest pains that I really like. Another thing I noticed you get a much different reaction when you tell people you don't drink versus when you tell people you don't smoke weed. If you tell someone you don't drink, like one of your good friends, you're like, I'm not drinking anymore, their instant reaction is like, good for you, dude. That's great. Keep going. If you tell someone you don't smoke weed, someone who does smoke a lot of weed, you say, I don't smoke, their instant reaction is just, why? Why not? And then you gotta be like, oh, it makes me want to kill myself. And then they like to say this, they like to say, you're probably not smoking the right strain of weed. You probably just haven't found your strain yet. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go through like a trial and error process for a drug I already don't like, right? I don't want to be like, wow, these 300 strains really made me want to kill myself. What a rough couple of months this has been. But luckily, I powered through and I found this strain over here that still makes me want to kill myself. I guess I'll smoke this one every day for the rest of my life. You never get that with alcohol, ever. You never even get anyone asking you questions about your sobriety from alcohol. You never meet someone who's like 25 years sober and you're like, well, have you tried Michelob Ultra? That might be your problem. I don't think you found your beer yet, dude. You gotta keep searching for your beer. That's why you can only see your kids on the weekends. You just haven't found your beer yet. You were drinking hazy IPAs before. Didn't mesh well with your personality. That's why you would go home and fist fight with your entire family every night. You're gonna give Coors Light a try, much more of a head buzz. All right, you guys were awesome. Thank you guys so much.